When Lorcana was announced, I remember hearing a lot of entrenched TCG players saying that the game wouldn't last, or that they were skeptical it could even compete with other games like Magic the Gathering or Pokemon. Well, almost a year and a half after Lorcana's launch, I'd say the game has some staying power, and will probably be around for the long haul. So today I wanted to do a quick video going over my thoughts about how the game is going, and what the future of the game might look like. Before we get into it, I want to remind everyone to please like this video and subscribe to the Sorcerer's Hat for more Disney Lorcana content. I post brand new videos every Friday. However, I will not be posting a video next Friday since it'll be Christmas and I'll be spending some much needed downtime with my family. But I will be back with a new video the following week. Alright, enough chit chat, let's get into it. When Lorcana was first announced back in 2022, I was immediately interested. I had just decided to quit Magic the Gathering for unrelated reasons, and I needed a new card game. I've always had a soft spot for Disney, and I liked Ravensburger's other products like Villainous, so I was immediately interested in the game. Thankfully, the game turned out to be everything I kind of ever wanted from a TCG, so even before the game's launch, I'd been hooked. I remember at the time the game was announced, and honestly, even up to recently, I've heard people in the YouTube space that shall remain nameless talk about their skepticism of the game and whether or not it'll even be around in a few years, or whether or not it's already declining in interest. This is probably the most polite way I can say this, but I find most of these arguments come from people that aren't actually playing the game, or they've probably never even played the game before, or maybe even never even looked at a Lorcana card before. They just hear Disney card game and make a bunch of assumptions. One argument I've heard from multiple people is they'll run out of IP, or I guess another way of saying it is they can only print so many copies of Snow White before people get bored. I have a few counters to this that are all Lorcana based, but let's use another card game to debunk this idea first. Pokemon is not only the most profitable IP on the planet Earth, but it's the most successful card game in the market today. 20 plus years after its debut, it still sells tons of product to both adults and kids alike, and has a thriving competitive scene. And since the pandemic, interest in the game has only grown, actually. If you had to guess, dear viewer, how many Pikachu cards have ever been printed in the game, like in the history of the game? Well, we actually know that, and I did a quick search while writing this script, and as of the recording of this video, there have been over 227 different Pikachu cards printed over the course of the game's life. Now obviously, some of those are different rarities in the same set and such, but you get the idea. There are a lot of Pikachu cards. And has that affected Pokemon's sales or interest in the competitive game? Not at all. The game is honestly selling better than it ever has been in the last few years. Lorcana also solved this problem with subtitles on every card. Not only that, having Floodborn versions means that they can create entirely new versions of these characters we've never seen before. So no, it's not the same exact Snow White every time. We're gonna get different versions and different cards over the years. If we want to go even further than this, Disney has over 100 years of movies, TV shows, shorts, comics, and other material to pull cards from. Only a year in, and we've only scratched the surface. I made a video about other IP I would love to see in the game, which you can watch by clicking the link in the description or in the card above, but maybe watch it after this one is over. Also, Disney is releasing new stuff all the time, so Ravensburger still has plenty of cards to choose from, and we could get reprints of older cards with new art at some point, sort of like Magic the Gathering does. So I don't think the idea that we're gonna run out of things is valid at all. Another thing that gives me a lot of hope for the future of the game is the competitive scene. I know I don't talk about very competitive subjects on this channel, and that's sort of by design, even though I play the game a lot and regularly in my locals and also in tournaments. Maybe I'll make a video about that at some point. But regardless, the competitive scene of Lorcana is not only thriving, I'd say it's actually growing. The Lorcana Challenge events seem to only get bigger and bigger, and they continually sell out, minutes usually after the tickets go live. The Last Chance Qualifier event happening in January in Anaheim, California, sold out in a matter of minutes, and that's pretty much the norm for these events. I don't know the exact numbers, but I'm pretty sure that the Continental Tournament happening the same weekend as the Last Chance Qualifier in Anaheim has over 1,000 players attending to not only compete in the main event, but side events as well. That's a massive amount of people showing up to play a card game. By the way, I'll be at the Last Chance Qualifier event in Anaheim, so if you see me, say hello. I can't speak for everyone's local scenes, but as for me, my local scene is absolutely thriving. Tons of game stores around me run regular events, and even some tournaments. Most recently, we had the Battle of the Bay tournament, which had over 130 players attend to compete. So my scene is really, really good, and I'm sure a lot of other scenes around the world are also thriving. But again, I can't speak for everyone's because I know not everyone has the same amount of interest in their area. I could go on for a long time, but we'll wrap this video up by saying that Lorcana is not only doing well, it's thriving and has so much more room to explore in terms of not only IP and characters, but design space as well. The game has a bright future ahead of it, and I for one can't wait to see where it goes. If you enjoyed this video, remember to like and subscribe to the Sorcerer's Hat for more Lorcana videos. I post a new one every single Friday. Thanks again for watching. I hope you all have a great day. Boy, love you.